This is a very hard profession. Music industry is a hard profession. You chose it. If you don't know your vocal technique, it's a disaster. I know so many friends who are excellent singers, but they had to quit because of vocal cord injuries. The moment when I started singing and doing shows, I lost my vocal cords.
You actually are a Grammy nominated artist. Hello and welcome to Artist Talk on Bob's Radio. My name is Rio Raymond. There's a big amount of glee on my face because we just moved to a new place. And also our first artist is someone who's moved to Bangalore. And what better joy in talking to somebody who's made Bangalore home and music is their profession. Laxom, welcome to Bob's Radio, man.
Thank you so much, Rio. Thanks for inviting me here.
It's been quite a long time, but I feel like it's worth the wait, isn't it?
Yes, we've been trying to talk back and forth for many months now, right? I guess.
I mean, we didn't have you on board in terms of the music.
The music, yeah.
But in terms of the interview, because a lot of issues in terms of day, but finally,
yeah.
And you're the first artist in the new studios.
Yeah, I think it was good, right? I got the opportunity to be in the newer studio.
Absolutely, and we get the best of experiences with you as well.
Right.
Now, to start off with, you actually are a Grammy-nominated artist.
Right.
Different moniker, which is your maiden name.
Yes.
And now, earlier you were doing not Bollywood, Hindi music.
Yeah.
But now you moved into dance music, electronic dance music. It's something we'll be discussing about. But before we get into what you are now, could you tell us a little bit about the Grammy-nominated times with you?
Right. So the first thing, it's not my single nomination. I was part of an ensemble, Berkeley Indian ensemble. And then we had an album called Shuruat, which was put into the Grammys last year, 2023, and we got nominated. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but that was the whole stint with the album and the nomination, basically.
So you have done productions for a lot of other artists also?
Yes. I mean, now I do mostly of mine, but before that, actually, I was a singer. So as part of the ensemble, it's a big twist because I was singing for the ensemble. I was helping with arrangements, doing the ensemble stuff. Production came much later, actually.
So, when I heard you speak, I was like, why is this guy producing music when he can actually sing? I think he can actually sing is what I was thinking. Now that you said that you actually sing, somewhere I think my judgment's right.
I can sing. Actually, it's a long story. I did my music as in a singer and a guitarist. I released my first song. It was a Ghana exclusive track. It became very well received. It has quite a decent amount of streams and everything. But the moment when I had started singing and doing shows, I lost my vocal cords. Right. So that's why I actually asked for water, because I know that I cannot last for too long speaking and you think about singing. So I had to really make a twist. I went to some of the best doctors in the world, including Adele's doctor, Zaita's doctor. Zaita is like, dude, you don't want to have a long-term career where every day before a show you're like, is my vocal cords okay? Will I be able to sing? So I had to literally, at the point when I was like, all right, let's do my music career as a singer and a guitarist. I was like, go back and then learn production, and I want to do something in electronic music. So that was the twist. So I do sing now, but I don't have that pressure that, I am a singer, I need to sing. I do it all the time. If you check
that's like a life lesson for a lot of people. When one avenue of yours to explore your talent goes off, you tend to find another opportunity through another mean. I don't know if you know about this movie called It's All Gone by Pete Tong.
Okay.
Where this guy goes deaf in the ear and he's a DJ.
Okay.
And yet he plays on the console by just vibrations.
Interesting, okay.
And it's an interesting movie to watch, just about how music plays a vital role in a musician's life, whether you produce music, whether you even are a singer or even someone who's an instrumentalist.
Yeah.
And this, I don't want to use the word inspiring and make it sound very philosophical.
Yeah.
But I'd say it's a lesson to learn for a lot of people. When one door shuts, there are other ways that you can always figure things out.
Right.
And you shut one door, which is Hindi music.
Hey, I mean, I didn't shut it because I still do some songs here and there. I did an Assamese song in a movie literally a few months back. I keep it open. But the best thing out of this that comes for everyone who's listening is vocalists need to take care of their vocal cords. Unfortunately, in India and many countries, even in the US, they think that, I'm singing, I'm doing great. But if you're not doing your warm-ups, if you don't know your vocal technique, it's a disaster. I know so many friends who are excellent singers, but they had to quit because of vocal cord injuries. So, be careful with that.
For a layman, when you talk about vocal cord injuries or voice box injuries, it's something like what, they're only screaming, or sore throat, drink some warm water. But actually, when we see some of the artists who lasted the longest time, I was watching this documentary of Bon Jovi, and just how John Bon Jovi was doing these warm-ups, vocal exercises, and then you would just lie flat because it was so exhausting. And then you're performing for probably 90 minutes to 120 minutes, and then you go back, it drains your energy.
Yeah.
And you're hitting notes like so high.
Right.
Of course, there are going to be injuries, and that's why they say you got to keep. In India, they use the word riyaz, it's practice.
Riyaz, yes.
But also, exercising your workout, so they stay in their best shape for you to put your best performance out.
Correct.
And,
Correct.
I know a lot of my friends who are vocalists will be like, "What, you're acting like a big vocalist?" But I think I understand a little bit in terms of what's the kind of effort that goes in it, because I think these guys half the time just singing alaps and just hitting those notes to this. It's not easy to be a singer. One is you need talent. Second thing, you need dedication and hard work.
Yeah. Learning vocal technique is a separate thing, and learning like how to sing, like as in doing riyaz, as you said, doing the alaps, is a very separate thing. So vocal warm-ups doesn't need you to like sing sa re ga ma pa. You need to do like take a straw and just in a glass of water just blow, and it has to be consistent because your air that comes out. And even when I'm speaking to you right now, the way I used to speak before was very different. So I had to literally go through vocal therapy for like about 2 years now. Every word that I utter is different. Like I said is, I would have probably said is before. Like it would have been all of that.
Changes over time.
It changed. A lot of things changed because I used to even now speak in like a long go in one like pitch, but I keep going up and down. That's because I've been trained to do that now for speaking, but I don't want to get into singing and
I do this with some of my interns who come in, like in terms of the training them for voiceovers. So when you're set, like you know what you're doing, you're impulsively by default going to hit certain notes when you speak or when you sing. But for the ones who are just starting off, for anyone who's watching who wants to do voiceovers of sorts, there is a template that gets set based on practice over time. And I think that's what even you have come across right now.
Yes.
Because of the
it's part of your life. Yeah.
So once it's setting, then no matter what you do, it'll be like this. You can just run through or sing through that without much of an effort. But from the singing, let's go into this guy's music production.
Okay.
The EDM music. Now, Laxom, see, so we all have listened to music at one particular time with the lyrics that sounded with us, resonated with us in a very profound way that touched us. But today, when it comes to music, it's more about feeling the beat, feeling the rhythm, and grooving to it or sorts.
Right.
Or I wouldn't say today, just a few years ago.
Yeah.
But today, it's more like I see on Instagram and I listen to something for about 4 to 10 seconds max. It kicks in and I feel, okay, this is good. This is music.
Right.
So you're in this era where music, I would say, is being tested.
Yes.
And when you're doing electronic dance music, how do you put your music together? Because I don't like what you produce. It's not heavy. It's not light. It's just right there for you to groove. It's right there for you to feel nice. And I wouldn't say it's like a hard tech. It's a proper dance music sort of a music that you produce.
Right.
So when you see what's in need of the market and what's coming through and what you produce, where do you see things going by?
See, I think I'm a strong believer that if you produce something that you really like even by me talking about this, like when I'm in the studio making music, and it's for me, it's like a ritual. Like I would wake up in the morning, I'll sit in the studio and make music, right? Just like anyone goes to office at 10 a.m. That's the thing with me. So those 3-4 hours, it's like goosebumps for me, right? I'm making something that I love the most. And like Rick Rubin, I think, had said that if you create something which you really like, people will get attracted to it. Because if you're a musician, you have some sense of music, you're a human being, you like that music, so you will find like-minded people who likes your music. Being said that, I'm really experimenting. Laxom is only 1 year old. I release a lot of music. Like I think I released 16 or 17 tracks this year itself. That's because I'm also trying, like you said, now I know that it's not hard tech, like that's your perception. So I'm getting all these feedback about what kind of music I'm actually making, what people are thinking my music sounds like. So over time, I'm hoping that I have my own sound. So that's why I'm experimenting a lot, from like something which is hard to something melodic house. There's a euphoric house track. I just did a Hindi Assamese hip hop plus EDM track called Japi, which got very good, people have liked it so far. So I'm like experimenting. I'm in the middle of that. So I'm not worried about what the trends are. If I was worried about what the trends are, I would be a techno artist by now. It would have been probably much easier for me to produce as well. But that's something I don't resonate with much. Maybe my brother, he listened to a lot of electronic music. He says that with age, you will probably like techno music, right? Which I'm okay to embrace. So you'd like put headphones on, listen to this track, listen to that track. But I haven't reached that point yet, maybe. So I just want to like make music which I love, which is making me dance. And honestly, when no one's watching, I'm dancing in the studio while making the music. That's what I want to keep doing, right? End of this story.
Dive a little deeper into how your music, as per your perception, is, right? Now, you make music, you put it out on different platforms. There's SoundCloud, there's Spotify, various platforms that have people to be found and people to monetize, like artists to monetize.
Right.
When we go down this road of monetization and being found, how far have you gone in terms of putting your music and having a reach? Finish.
So with monetization, I understood that from the Hindi songs that I put out, I get a few checks from the streaming. It's not great, but at the same time, when I'm putting out music as Laxom, I'm not, at this point of time, it's too early for me to worry about monetization from the streams that I'm getting. It's a year-old project, right? I have a few, I think about 70, 80,000 streams in the last 7-8 months. So there's no point calculating. The big picture is that, again, as I said, once the numbers go up, money will come. And streaming is just one avenue, right? Get your basics right, get your music right, put it out, do the proper market. I'm not saying you want to be an ideal musician where you're sitting and making music, putting it out there. You do your marketing, you do your social media, you learn video editing, you do put out ads, run your playlist ads, do everything that a musician is supposed to do as a business, right? Don't think too much about how am I going to get paid from the streams, at least for me at the stage that I am with my Laxom project. Because I've understood that can come from the Ghana projects. I've been getting checks, that's regular. So I see that if at about 20-25 million streams is what I have, if this is the paycheck that I'm getting right now, in which there's a 50-50% partnership deal, they get 50%, I get 50%, but still it's decent income. So if Laxom takes off, it's all independent right now. I have a few label releases. So sky is the limit. And that's just one avenue. See what I'm saying?
So like you said, but you have a cushion for yourself. Like you have your Ghana playlist. You also are doing other music projects in the side. Laxom,
I teach a lot. Yeah. I have a production teaching company based out of LA.
Okay.
Me and my friend from LA, both of us did this 2 years back. Okay. So that's where then I teach. There's another school in San Francisco that I'm teaching online. I just literally did today morning. I did a class. So I teach a lot because this is something that I learned, and not everyone gets the opportunity to go to a good school in music. So why not spread? Right?
That's a great and noble thought, especially spread knowledge about music.
Yeah.
But since you also have a cushion, you teach, you also are doing something with Ghana playlist.
Right.
From your thoughts, right? For an independent artist today, to make just music and survive with the kind of clutter that is there all around, do you think it's possible?
Yes, it is possible, but you have to be a little smart about it. If someone's young, and I was literally talking to a guy yesterday, he was asking me how should I go about. He's a 20-year-old kid. So I was like, if you are 20-year-old and in India your parents are not going to throw you out of the house, to make the most out of it, because you don't have to worry about your bills, you don't have to worry about your rent, right? Food, which will come maybe 3 years down the line from now. These 3 years are gold mine for you. All you need to do, in my view, right? You need to make good music. Right? You need to understand social media, because that is going to be your gateway if you do not have a lot of money, right? If you're blessed to be from a family who is able to fund your music, take a loan from them. You are privileged enough to be at that point. Put in your effort in music, market it well, because music is a product for you. It's not just an art form. If you want to be a professional musician, right? So think about it as a business. I like to give an example. Suppose, let's say if we were t-shirt manufacturers, that's a good example. If you only make the t-shirts and keep it in the studio, will it ever get sold? No, right? So similarly, if you only make music in that studio, right? Rio, if you're a musician and you have a studio here and you only have it here, you don't market it, you don't brand it, you don't know how to put the cover art, you don't know how to do social media, what's the point? It's across all startups, all businesses, music is a business. You are privileged enough to be God gifted, to be able to make music or sing or whatever. Then do the necessary steps to make sure you can, make a career out of it.
What you said is something a lot of artists wouldn't agree with. You agree on that, not?
Mm-hmm.
Because for a lot of artists, music is sacred. It's very divine.
Right.
And when there's a lot of time put into creating that craft and putting that art out together, there is time, effort, sometimes money. There is also other people's effort that comes in.
Right.
So a lot of them also are working. A lot of them are also just full-time musicians.
Right.
But then to go about, of course, marketing, which back in the day, there were like agencies, there were record labels who would do it for you.
Yeah.
But as an independent artist, somewhere I think it is needed. Like, you got to run your craft like it's a business. But what I fail to, conquer is that when an artist is putting his music out, the artist is not putting the music out to promote his music, but he puts content out based on what the algorithm is asking him.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. But see, this is what this is something.
It's like a burnout for an artist, because time and again you're putting something.
Yeah.
So in the time that you could spend going and making some music or creating a song or songs, you're scheduling a calendar to what to post on social media.
Right. So quoting, unquoting Taylor Swift, who is the biggest pop artist, she says that you have to love music so much, that whole process that you're talking about, the sacred. See, we are talking very much about making a career in music right now. That's the conversation we're having, not just doing it as a hobby, right? So when you want to make a career in music, first of all, you have to love your music so much, Taylor Swift again, that you are ready to do meetings. She says she only gets like a little time to make music, but she loves it so much that she is willing to go to do these meetings and the business stuff, what needs to go out on social media, because you love it so much. You want to make a career in music. This is what you want to do all your life. You need to make money from it, right? So how would you do it? The world demands. You cannot be an idealist if you want to be a professional musician and be like, all right, I'm just going to make music and money is going to come. Like, I'm realistic that I'm an engineer after all. I'm a doctor's son. I'm a mechanical engineer. So I need to think that way. If my friends who graduated are making $100,000 at this point of time, I want to be at that point or whatever, right? So I need to be on that path while doing what I like doing. So if it needs me to do social media, if it needs me to do marketing, I will do it. It's not a choice for me, is what I mean.
I agree with this part, right? But sometimes I also understand from where an artist comes.
Yeah.
Because, like, say, if you're talking about an artist in today's time, someone who's just springing out 2 to 3 years ago,
right?
Makes sense. They've been in the social media game. But for someone who's been there for like 10, 15 years, social media just kicked in now. Like, Instagram is just a marketing tool now for putting content.
Correct. That's
so it's a little difficult for someone who comes from that time to adjust. But again,
I would agree.
There's one particular brand that says, "Jo seekega wahi aage badhega."
I agree, but I'm hoping that if someone is there as a professional musician for 15 years, he's had enough base, because then he's also using the route of like knowing people and getting projects. I know so many musicians, just name it, any of the big musicians in the Indian industry also who have been there for a long time, they're not always actively doing social media because people already know that they are good musicians. They have their base. We know them, right? Do we see A.R. Rahman doing reels? We don't need to. He has, of course, he's a very big name, but even like, anyone you see who we know.
Yeah.
So we see some of them now, but they're not consistent. I don't know if Kailash Kher does it. I have not seen, but do we not listen to it, right?
You talk about putting your content out.
Yeah.
Now, how much of that content that you're putting out and following are getting transitions into streams? That's another question.
Very interesting.
From there, how much of that time that you invest in it gets you gigs? And the third thing is you have platforms like Bandcamp and such, where you can sell your music. So you are sitting in one point. Of course, everything is out on the www to direct people to, okay, stream here, buy here, and maybe get signed up with the agency, and you can go and get a gig as well.
Right. Playlisting companies,
Playlisting, I'll tell you another thing.
Yeah, it's a different ballgame altogether.
I'll come to that as well. But when an artist will look at all of this, when the numbers that come back are not rewarding enough. So it's very demotivating for an artist.
Well, that's the truth, unfortunately. I mean, you have to live. If this is a very hard profession, music industry is a hard profession. You chose it. For me, I've set my mindset. This is what I'm going to do all my life. I don't care. I mean, I don't care about what my streaming numbers are, what every stream is giving $0.0001 and people are shouting about it. I don't care, because I know when that one stream is going to be a million streams, that's enough for me to, even a million stream is enough for me to live my life like properly, if that was independently for me. See what I'm saying?
You don't understand.
It's all about a mindset. I'm not seeing it from that perspective. It's paying me less money per stream. I am seeing it from a perspective. If tomorrow, 3 years down the line, 1 year down the line, 6 months tomorrow, whatever, if I have a million stream, that is only gonna go because algorithms are very strong. Yeah. If you keep putting out music, that's what my plan is. Algorithms are strong. They're gonna keep pushing out your music. You can sit in any part of the world in an island. It sounds idealistic, but it is the truth, right? And you can make music, put it out, you'll have a few million streams, do whatever you want to do, and you get check. And once you reach that million streams, actually you'll have so many more avenues. Like you'll get shows, you'll get brand deals, blah, 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 blah. Sky's the limit.
So I don't want to be sounding pessimistic in terms of what I was saying with what you were saying. You were very positive in terms of how an artist should look at being a professional musician.
Different perspective.
Right?
Yeah.
I was just bringing the realistic scenarios of the current day artists. And of course, some guys have been in the business for the longest time because, like I said earlier, the amount of effort you put into something, the kind of returns you get, like in terms of shows or the monetization,
Right.
it's very stark compared to someone like your approach.
Yeah.
Like you maybe if someone will say, oh, he's got a cushion, he's got a, another moniker, he's also got teaching. So
Yeah.
the other thing that someone will say is, why don't you also start doing something similar?
See, cushion in the sense I build everything. When you say cushion, right? I am blessed to have a family who has been supportive throughout these years since childhood, right? I have built my business, music teaching business. So whatever I earned from that, I took out 2 years to learn how to build a business also, right? From that only I got this perspective that if I think about it, say this is what I want to do for life, I need to think about it as a business. My songs are a product for me. Till the point I'm making the song, it's not a product. Till I'm finishing the song. But once I'm done with the song, I have to detach a little bit from that, right? I told you that first, when I'm staying in the studio, that's the best time. I'm not thinking about it as a product. And I hope that comes across in my songs as well. But once that point is done, I need to think about it separately, like any creative businessman should do. Also, I've been in the music industry for 6-7 years now. So I've gone through that process of spending a lot of money on music videos and trying the traditional route and not failing, but understanding that if I had 3 or 4 music videos which I shot in Boston, New York, LA, right? I put it out, but I did not have money for marketing at that point of time. Thankfully, Ghana came to my rescue. They pushed the song, so it did well. But if it did not, my song would have been sitting. And that is the current scenario. That's the truth. What can we do? Times have changed. I cannot create CDs and go to the CD store. These times require me to make songs. I need them to stream. The algorithm needs to push them. I need to do social media. Do I like doing social media? Half enough. Sometimes I like, sometimes I don't. But since it requires me to do my job, I will do it. It's like doing chores,
You're looking
right?
at the entire task as a job to do to put your product out, which is
To work a living.
Yeah, to make a living.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of artists, I wouldn't say you have to do, but again, it goes by each one's lifestyle and the way they take their music ahead.
Right.
Now, since you mentioned about series, I was anyway going to come to this. Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk, and you also have been seeing good streams, right?
Yeah. I mean, decent. There's a long way.
25 million streams, not easy.
That is for Ghana. That's for Ghana. So that's the Hindi music.
18,000 streams is not bad.
Yeah, this is this year in Laxom.
Just in 1 year, which is very rare for anyone.
Total.
In India to
Yes.
see.
Yes.
But we talk about these numbers and you talk about the streaming platforms that we have.
Right.
You have Spotify, Amazon, Ghana, and Apple Music of sorts.
Yeah.
A lot of stories or rumors are around that these platforms are run or rather invested a lot by labels. Now they control the algorithm in terms of what goes on and what gets the feature, what comes into your feed as well.
That's true.
For example, if you play a song by a certain artist you like, you would get recommendations of a similar kind of sound or a similar era that song comes from, right? But in certain cases, it's more of a push of an artist that is under the label that is part of the streaming platform.
Yeah.
Have you heard of something like this? I'm asking.
No, this is true. This is 150% true. Labels have the money, they can push songs, and they can have their roster of artists be on top of me at this point of time. Can I do anything about it? I cannot do anything about it. So end of story for me. I don't want to delve into those things. I know there are hundreds of independent artists who are also making a living opposite way, who are not signed to labels, right? And they're making a living. So I want to go that route. जो हाथ में है ही नहीं उसके बारे में सोचना क्या?
जो हाथ में अभी लेके आ सकते हैं. That's what I want to talk about. Now, see, streaming is not something that's working in many cases. And also, we were talking about the editorial playlist. Now, I'll give you an example of editorial playlist. So, while I was searching for independent artists, I came across some artists, really nice music. I said, okay, let's get in touch with this person. Spoke to him. He said, bro, my song is with a label.
Yeah. That's
okay. And that same song was under the editorial playlist of independent artists.
Right. That also happens. Yes.
Okay. So here you already are promoting your artists under, like, who's an independent artist? Someone who's not under a label, who's releasing everything by themselves.
Right.
Now here you come and put your big money into promoting your artist under one category that is defined, as it says, for people who make music and market everything by themselves. So somewhere the guy who's putting effort by himself is also being eaten into, or the artist.
It is happening. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's happening.
Yeah. So when you look at this, I also spoke to a couple of artists who said, dude, streaming is not the way.
It's not the
what
way,
we
yeah.
need to look at is try and sell our music from our own, platform. Like, you have their own websites.
Yes, that's a good way to go as well. Yeah.
But there is always a thought, as a layman or someone who's been talking to a lot of these artists, vinyls are coming back in.
Yes, big time.
But when I think about the number that is going to come into effect to produce one vinyl,
Yeah.
I can't think of doing it. But CD seems like an option.
Yeah, people are doing it. If you follow channels like Entrepreneur, Sarka does. He has a, I think, shipping and handling thing. He's still selling CDs for his artists. He's not an artist. He's a marketing company. Very good. He has good advice, and he's using his small artists also like to sell CDs. And it's working for them.
Right.
But it works in the US. I don't know if anyone's doing it in India at this point of time. But I also feel, Rio, merchandise or any of these things will only come after a little, when you have a little growth as a musician, as an artist. And coming back to that, when you say cushion, that's me teaching music production. That is also part of my artistic form, right? I have a company, a school where I teach students how to produce, mix and master music,
Yes.
right? That is also a it's part of my profession.
Yes.
So if you think about it separately, then again, gone. If I can get money or a living from XYZ, which is related to music, I love teaching generally, then why would I not do it? Sort of a thing, right? Merchandising, for me at least, I'm not at that point where I think I can be at a point where I can sell merchandise. But hopefully that will come.
Oh,
Yeah.
Now, it's always good to understand perspectives as far as an artist is concerned.
Yeah.
And here comes in another questionable thought, which some may agree, some may disagree as well, that independent music rather, is the future.
That's a tricky question to answer because I don't know. I don't have much knowledge about what's happening with the music of the labels from the insider point of view. But I do see that independent artists it's growing big time, right? You don't need labels anymore. Again, perspective, mindset change. For me, wow, great. I have social media to push my songs out or to promote or to show what I'm doing in the morning. If you follow my social media, every morning I'm making something which does not need to be posted on Spotify, but every day I'm posting, this is what I made. I like to share my stuff. Imagine if I had to do this 15 years back, I had to first create the 10 tracks song, make the CD, get it printed, go to the label store, show it to them, all of that. Yeah.
Back.
Yeah.
10 to 15 years ago, how would have you produced electronic dance music? Because India was not even there, well equipped. So that is another thought.
That's another thought. Yeah.
So when you go look back in time, this is something that I tell a lot of people that independent music, say even 5-6 years ago, nobody would have thought it's going to grow at the rate that it is growing today. It's because of the technological advancements that we have.
Nuclear was doing 10 years back.
Nuclear had the tech with it. Like say, nuclear was already part of medieval pundits.
I guess so, yeah.
Medieval pundits.
Two of them, right?
Two of them.
Yeah.
And then for someone like that, see, electronic dance music is one thing. I'm talking independent music as a whole category.
Yeah.
Like say, if someone has to put out a song together, instruments coming in.
Yeah.
That person has to get a guitarist come in.
Right. The
Maybe
whole
something
producer thing has to go. Yeah.
Or in some cases, someone use GarageBand or use something on the iPad and finish it.
Yeah.
But today it's grown to such a huge level, and I'm talking mostly in terms of how technology has aided music. And that context is what I'm asking you as an artist. Do you think it is the future?
I'll tell you what is scary. I am not worried about people putting out music when they're producing their own music from their laptops or whatever. I'm worried about AI. I know that AI music is at a point because I have experimented with Suno.ai or whatever. They at this point of time are creating not good music, but I'm surprised how they're creating that music. Right? I am scared that music will take over. It's already part in Spotify right now. A small part of it is there, right? If legislations are not put in place right now by the labels, the UMG, WMG, they need to do this. Then we are a little.
I don't know where you're going after this. I'll give you an example of something that's happened now. Rajinikanth's movie. Okay. So there is this one particular song that is, one part of the song is AI generated. Of course, it's voiced up by a singer who's Shomo. His name is Malaysia Vasudevan. So they've aped his voice through AI, and he sings this particular part. And you can tell, I think it's a file taken from back in the day and plugged in to give a sample of the voice, because it sounds like it's the yesteryear voice.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
And you're talking about labels to put legislations where artists themselves are doing.
But labels are the only ones who have the power. You have to understand, like right now, I think Universal is already fighting against AI music. But like people like independent artists would have to really form a union of sort to get there. And unfortunately, the power is either with the government or with the labels, like it or not. Once Taylor Swift or any big artist songs are going to come out with AI, that's when they're going to be like, my revenue is not coming in. It's all, unfortunately for labels, it's about money. It's a music business. It's okay. It's about money. But when the money will go away, that's when they will kick in. They've already started doing it.
But if you ask me, I think labels are, I don't know. A lot of people say labels are hand in hand in terms of AI music, because it's less amount of investment on any person, but it's an investment on a software to kick in the music. There are also rumors or talks about how Spotify plays AI music to regenerate the money that comes back into their account. Like the streams are kicked in through their AI music that they create, and it's come back into their account. In fact, there is one guy as well, I forgot his name. So he
Ghost something, no? His name,
I'm not sure.
Ghost producer or something.
Yeah. So he's
wears a gown. He put Drake's song, he made a million.
No, it's not Drake's song. He just created AI music, and he's made multiple accounts with putting these AI music from these multiple accounts.
Yeah.
So all that money goes to him. He's made over $25 million.
But that guy got arrested, by the way. This is a very recent. I think we're talking about the same person. Yeah. See, he put AI music. He had many artists. He put it out. He used bots to generate those streams and made a good buck out of it. But apparently he's been jailed, not even like fined. He's been jailed for some years. So if that's the route we are going, great. Now that's what I'm scared about.
Now that's one person who's probably got caught.
One person got caught. Yes.
Got caught. With that also being like a loophole, don't you think that there would be a lot more doing that?
It will happen. But I strongly believe, as idealistic as it sounds, I don't think so machines can make the kind of music that we humans can make. I'm a strong believer of that. And even if this situation happens, that I also see like people who actually create real music, if they know like you're singing or you're like playing piano, the value for that even goes up a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, it's about seeing half glass full empty sort of a situation. As a musician, if you don't think like that, you will go nuts, because it's a very difficult industry to crack, right? So that's where I come from. I like to think about AI in the sense that if you are not the best mixing engineer or best mastering engineer, and you do not have the funds to you've produced a great song, but you don't know how to mix and master, and you don't have money to hire a mixing. That if AI is helping you out to get that across and put your artistic form out, then I'm totally for it. Right. But when it is like you're generating through text, I have an issue with that. That's my take on it.
Well, and then people also say electronic dance music is also something to do with machines, and it's also using electro pads and everything and connecting your music and plugging into one particular software, recording it. So when you hear some things like this about electronic music, do you want to give us a little gist on how actually electronic dance music?
No, I'll tell you the difference. If you're only making songs from samples and stuff, your music is going to sound like every other normal Joe, right? Now, for example, only 3 or 4, now I'm working on a track. I had the song in my mind, what I wanted for the chorus, right? I used my phone to record it just before sleeping at night. I had it I sang it out how I wanted. I recorded the next morning my vocals, like something like that. And then I put it on my computer. I processed it to make my own sound. I'll show it to maybe after the podcast. But you have to make something original. If you're only relying on samples and whatever is available to you, how will you ever make the cut anyway? Right. And there's nothing wrong in using samples, because if you think about a kick sample, it's actually coming from a kick drum. Whether you record it by playing the drum or you process it by making it on your software, it's up to you, right? Reusing of samples is something I always think about. Like, one sample is getting used for many songs. I don't know. Right now, I don't think so I'm mature enough to understand if that's right or wrong. But I keep thinking about that.
It's a growing thing. Like, keep learning. As well. Like the autodidact behavior.
Yeah.
But when you also do put out your electronic dance music, it is something that is trending. You have people listening to it because of the
India, especially now. Yes.
Right. But when it comes down to you from a music producer to going on and performing live, have you performed live at Laxom?
Yes, I have. I've done a few shows. I haven't done many. Mostly DJ sets and with my controller stuff. I like, see, again, as a DJ or as a performer, you cannot only be putting out your music in front of the audience. So you have to make a nice playlist of a good artist and your own music and blend it in. I love that process. I love to play my songs to people. I love to play other people's songs because I am also like vibing with it, right? So that's the thing with performance.
Is there a difference for Laxom as a person when you produce the music and perform as a DJ? Your songs.
When I produce as a DJ, as a producer versus as a DJ, yes, because as a producer, that's a totally two different skills, right? I may be the best producer in the world, right? But I may not be the best DJ in the world, and vice versa. I may be the best DJ in the world, but I may not be the best producer. These are two separate skills that you need to hold. Of course, they are interconnected, but I don't want to think about it both as same processes. Yes, if my live set also consists of pads, which I do, I have an Ableton Push 2, which I play. I have a MIDI keyboard on my side. That's when, yes, production works because I also play I know to play drums, I know to play guitar. So my mind of a performance set with, not as a DJ but as a performer, then I would need the production skills because I would be doing things with the knobs and the EQs and the reverbs and stuff like that. Then my production would come. But as a DJ, I would not think too much. As a DJ, my job is to make sure people are entertained on the other side of the deck. So that's it.
It's a different mindset when you go in because it's not about making you listen to your music. You want people to have fun.
Yes, absolutely. They if I am playing a DJ set and someone is paying me, they are not paying me only to listen to my own song till I'm at a point where I'm a Martin Garrix or something. If I'm playing a DJ set right now, it is for people to have fun and dance and have a good time. I will put in my song in between. That's fine. But my set will have some songs which I like and people like and which can make people groove depending on what situation it is. If it's in a wedding situation, I would not do that. If it's at a club situation, I would not play a wedding song. That's how you would curate your music. You're a better curator as a DJ. You would not think as a producer.
Totally. And when you put your music out on the streaming platforms, you tend to always look for some feedback. But the best of feedback comes in when you play your music live.
Right. That's true. I felt this too.
What's the kind of feedback you got to your music?
I've got decent feedback. People all of them have felt that it's very groovy right now, which is good. And I'm also trying to put in some Indian elements with Western elements. So that's a new thing. I don't want to make it too Indian. I don't want to make it too Western. So but I'm still trying to understand where I can fit in between. So people have liked it so far, thankfully.
Now, since you mentioned this Indian and Western element, talk about dance music.
Yeah.
Somehow, do you think that is a good combination? Because I'm not saying it's bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
Will it work, or the right kind of production has not been there? But I don't think I've heard a track with a lot of Indian elements in it and still sounds like, yes, I can listen to it.
You gotta listen to Jappi.
Which is a new track.
This is my new track. You definitely should listen to Jappi and give me honest feedback on it because I think I have done my best so far to create a track which has elements of Assamese rap in an EDM song with Hindi kind of drop, Hindi loop drop.
This is just going as a reel, I didn't plan this to ask.
Yeah, I mean, that's what if you are looking for an example, check out my song. That's how you promote.
This is called skill. We ask question to get the kind of answers you want.
You got to promote your music, man.
I'm looking forward to that. And when do you plan to release this song?
This is already out. In fact,
how have we not got the song yet?
I mean, you've not streamed it. Maybe you've not checked my social media. This also became the top 6 songs in the JBL and Martin Garrix stamp.
When I say how you got the song and why have you sent it to us yet?
Okay, I got to do that. Yes, I got to do that. Definitely.
So just check Jappi out in Bob's Radio first.
Yeah.
Then you can go stream on any of the other platforms. But Laxom, you know what? You gave me an introspective from you and from your point of view, your life as an artist in terms of what it is like to look at music as a career today, right? And I hope I've been able to give you a little insight in terms of the artists who've been in the scene for a while.
Yes.
How it is for them as well.
Right.
It's been quite the chat with you, and I can't wait to see more music coming out of you.
Thank you.
Like in Hindi, they say Jappi. We'll do a Jappi after we cut this.
Okay.
But thank you for coming here once again. I know you came from Ahmedabad. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.